Previously, on House of Meadow, the Supreme Court recently ruled that the state of New Jersey could unilaterally withdraw from a commission created with the state of New York decades ago to combat the influence of organized crime. When I was younger, I thought I knew how it all worked. What I had no idea about was just how backwards I had it in my head. Welcome back. Last time when we had a stop, you'd been telling me about your household dynamics growing up during your childhood. Do you want to continue where we left off? Also, just as a general point, when I ask you these questions that may seem very deep or even invasive, it's not to judge you. Everything you tell me just helps give me a better understanding of you and your life, so that I can give you my most sincere and helpful professional insight. But in any case, everything we speak about here is confidential. With exceptions, of course, if you tell me that someone is in serious danger. Panic attacks. Pardon? I had another panic attack. Well, actually, it happened right after I left our appointment last week. Go on. I know you say no judgment, but it's hard for me to accept that. Maybe it's the lawyer in me, but aren't we all in a constant state of judgment? And aren't we a little full of shit when we say no judgment? Perhaps that depends on who you ask. Did the attack happen right after you left the appointment? Like right when you got into the car? Well, I sort of knew what was coming this time. Or at least I had a better idea than the previous time. All of a sudden, things get fuzzy. Not just fuzzy, like uncomfortably fuzzy. And then I start to clam up and sweat. It's just, I feel like I lose complete control. And then everything turned black.
Bullshit!
This is such a crock of shit. Terribly dysfunctional.
We suffered for years, years!
Hear, hear.
Minister of Propaganda.
If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, go fuck yourself.
Hey there, how's the weather? How's the water? The good news. The Waterfront Commission is out, and the Port of New York and New Jersey is officially the busiest shipping port in the country. What's the bad news? The Longshoremen's Union is on a work stoppage over wages and other benefits. It's only been a few days, but there have already been ripple effects in the supply chain, given the logistical nightmare that happens in situations like this. So what do they want? More like, what does Jason not want? Jason? Parisi? Gervaisi. As if he hasn't caused enough agita over the years. Look, we've talked about this. You and I are on the same page when it comes to taking care of business, not being sloppy. Some of these guys still go out there acting like they have something to prove. Is his father still in the picture? Carlo? Last I heard, he had moved and was trying to get in on the ground floor with the recreational cannabis market. I haven't seen or heard from him in years, though. I know where Carlo is, and he's definitely not out growing cannabis. Where is he, you ask? Well, it's a hill overlooking a little river, with pine cones all around. You see where I'm going with this? About how long did it take you to come to and regain consciousness? It couldn't have been more than a minute or two, but of course, in that moment, it felt like forever.
Leaves our granddaughter fatherless.
Somebody's giving grand jury testimony on something.
So Carlo has flipped.
We don't know. My hunch, 80 to 90% chance you'll be indicted. And if Carlo starts talking homicide...
So this person isn't in the picture anymore? Just his son? Yeah. It was right around the time of the fire. That's what I like to call it.
That huge fireball. And you have no idea the heat.
It was a really bad time for our family. So much shit was going on.
Give me a scotch.
You serious?
Yeah. And that one yourself.
A cousin of mine died in a horrible car crash. Then my brother attempted suicide.
Look, it's not your fault. You warned us.
One of our uncles' mom died.
Nucci Gualtieri died. Stroke.
followed by 2 of my uncles getting shot and killed. Oh, and someone we thought was family betrayed all of us. Go on. Carlo's son, Jason, who's around my brother's age, he got caught dealing ecstasy. Not that that wasn't bad enough, but he already had a record too, so he could have been seriously screwed. But lo and behold, Daddy comes to the rescue. Jason's shitting his pants, and Carlo's in a pissy mood from having to lay low for a few days while some work shit got settled.
Carlo!
So what, that's all it takes? To betray people, to throw away your loyalty and your family along with it? I thought you said he was trying to help his family. I mean, with his son.
I'm in the waste management business. Everybody immediately assumes you're mobbed up. It's a stereotype, and it's offensive.
My father was in waste management and sanitation. There was a disagreement among vendors over whether or not the procurement selection committee had chosen the right vendor for this particular contract, and my father wanted Carlo to chill out and back off for a bit. So then the next day, when Carlo's son needed a lifeline, Carlo decided to point fingers at my father to get his son, Jason, a deal. And with the assumptions everyone already had of people involved in waste management, of course they took the bait.
There's no mafia.
Jason got a slap on the wrist, if you can even call it that. More like a light tap on the wrist. And they went after my father instead, for the umpteenth time. I guess on the bright side, if you want to call it that, we knew what was up immediately. It wasn't like your Donnie Brasco type scenario. And what happened with Carlo after that? I think he went into witness protection or something. I love how he still thinks people would actually go after him like that. So, anyway, Jason G gets out of that mess unscathed, and slowly but surely, he worked his way up the chain to where he is today. After the fire, our family, in some ways, had to just start from scratch. So, Carlo was out of the picture, but his son, Jason, stayed around. There wasn't some sort of conflict with that. Look, business is business. If an entire family had to be punished because of something that one family member did, none of us would ever survive.
We all paced a lot of water since the old days, huh?
I was away when all that shit went down with your brother. What the fuck happened?
We don't like to talk about it.
We can try to control as much as we can, but at the end of the day, someone can still make their own choices, for better or worse. They just have to decide if it's worth the consequences. But that doesn't mean that their son was a rat too. Well, unless the son encouraged it, but I don't want to go there right now. It may come as a surprise, but this industry is very, very similar to every other industry. It's political.
Carlo!
What if he flipped?
Unfortunately, it looks like we've reached our time again, so we'll have to stop, but I think we had some really good conversation today, and I'd like to keep continuing that dialogue. Stay tuned for the next House of Meadow.